Can you get Woodpecker's precision and accuracy for a fraction of the cost? I think I just found it. Let's go. I may have stumbled across some of the best precision layout and measuring tools on the market for woodworking at a budget. Each one of these are less than $30 a piece. I've got 5 to show you, plus a bonus tool that's also under $30, all made by WEN. WEN products. Who knew? Who saw this coming? I've had the WEN drill press since 2017. I've reviewed several WEN products on this channel, and I've always been a big fan of their quality for the price. And these even surprised me as far as how high quality they are, because I am a Woodpeckers fanboy. I have several of their tools. They are very expensive. These rival the Woodpeckers' quality and accuracy. I can't tell a difference for a much, much cheaper price. First on the list is one of the most used tools in any woodworking shop, and that is a square. And having a very good, accurate square is essential to building good quality products that don't rock and wobble and are square. This is one of the best budget squares I've found for woodworking, layout, things like that. Anodized aluminum. There's a few things I really, really like about this square, and there's a couple of things I wish they would improve in the future, or maybe another version. First, this square is accurate. I put it up against both of my Woodpecker squares the same size, the 1281 and the 1282. Inside and outside, you can see here they're perfectly square. And the scale is also perfectly accurate all the way down on the inch side up to the 10.5 inches on the inside of this square. Once it's directly overhead, you can see that these markings are lining up. There's a little bit of a parallax effect just because the aluminum square for Woodpeckers is quite a bit thicker than the WEN square. I also like that they've offset the square in here, or in other words, the base or the shoulder of this square is wider, so it does stick to the edge of whatever you're working with, like on this sheet of plywood here. And there's a 45-degree mark or edge already built in, so you can make 45-degree marks in either direction. This square is also tapered on the back side down so that you don't get that parallax effect. It's much thinner on this side versus the inside shoulder. There is inch markings on the inside and centimeters on the outside. If you're in the metric world, congratulations, you have metrics on one side. I don't use those. I do wish that they sold these in metric and inch, but honestly, I rarely ever use the measurements on a square to set my measurement. I'm typically just using a tape measure, and the square is being used for a square. But speaking of measurements, if you do use those, I do wish they would have printed those on the back side. You can see there's none on the back, and they are on the front side. Not a huge deal, but at this price point, you really can't argue with this because it is an accurate square. So if you just need a really good layout square for checking square of your products or laying things out, this might be the way to go at this price. If you're interested in this square or any other of these amazing tools that you're fixing to see, I'll link them in the description and the pinned comment to help you find them easier. And if I can find them on YouTube Shopping, you'll also see the View Products button on screen where you can shop these products. Now, while these are absolutely fantastic tools, one of the ways they're saving money, which I don't really mind, is their packaging. It's just brown cardboard, just like all WEN tools come in like this. I don't really mind that. They do have all of them. All of these had foam inserts with them that allows you to keep these protected. If you wanted to put them in a drawer or something like that, you could just keep this foam packaging, and then you can keep everything nice and organized should you choose to do that. All right, this set and number 4 is probably my favorite out of the bunch. This is the T-marking squares or T-marking rulers from WEN, and there's also one I'm gonna throw in here is called a shoulder square. These are very well made and extremely useful for layout. So I bought all 3 of these because I wanted to check them all out, and I think it's a good idea just to have all 3 of these in the shop. You get a little 3-inch layout, a little 10-inch, and then the shoulder square, which we'll talk about in a minute. First up, you may notice that this is offset from the ruler itself. The ruler is also tapered on both sides, which I really like. It really takes away any errors that you're going to get from parallax. This one is not in metric in any form. You're getting all the imperial. So if you need metric, sorry. You can see these scribe holes here are all offset from each other, a 32nd of an inch. Like, you're getting some extreme precision here. So on both sides you get 1/16 of an inch markings, but they are labeled at 1/8 inch increments. So you can see the 1 inch line or the 9, then you get 1/8, quarter, 3/8, half, 5/8, 3/4, 7/8, and then the next inch. But in between those there are 1/16 of an inch increments on both sides. However, these holes are actually laid out in 1/32 of an inch. As you see here, when you do your scribe lines, you can see that they are extremely close together. using those scribe holes. Because they are tapered down toward the stock, then you're getting those pinpoint accuracy when you want to lay out your markings. Like if I was going to mark 3 inches here, the line is right on the material, which I really like. The Woodpecker T-marking rule is very similar to that. It's tapered down toward the stock. You know exactly where you're going to be marking without any parallax effect. Like the thicker rulers, you'll see where the marking is like an 1/8 inch above the stock, you may make a mark a little bit off. If you need really, really good accuracy, I like that these are tapered. Now this little 3-inch layout rule is perfect for the shirt pocket, the apron pocket, or wherever you keep your layout tools. It's a really nice little handy thing, and it is actually square. So you can use either one of these as a square to mark square lines, should you need to do that. And they both have that shoulder so it sticks on the edge of your stock. And what matters most if you're buying precision tools is that they are accurate. And you can see I put the Woodpecker's edge rule. I'm using the Woodpeckers because it seems to be like the standard for accuracy when people start comparing tools. But you can see here all the way out to 10 inches, dead accurate. No issues at all. These are some of the best priced layout tools that are this accurate that I've seen on the market, bar none to date. Also, not lost on me, I do really appreciate that they put this little orange stripe down through there. It adds nothing other than a little bit of aesthetics to it, and I like that look. And we'll see some more of this in a minute in some of their other tools, something similar to this. I just like it. It kind of gives them something that stands apart. Other than just being plain black, it gives that little nice streak of color. It's kind of cool. And on the small one, it goes right across the top. It's neat. I like it. Now there's bunches and bunches of times you want to carry a mark around a piece of stock or over the two faces of the stock, and this little shoulder square is perfect for that. You still get that same scale at 1/16 inch increments marked off it. For whatever reason, it's labeled 1/8, 1/4, 3/8, etc. And you also have those scribe holes, same type scribe holes, and the Pentel pencil actually fits really well in there. I've noted this in many videos that this is my favorite pencil for woodworking, but this is what that's for. You can just lay that line out around the edge of a board like that, and these little shoulder squares are perfect for that. You can use other tools to do that, but a lot of times what you find is this shoulder isn't long enough to carry a line with any meaning. And so now that I have that line and the little bit longer line on the face, I can take one of my other layout tools and continue that line on. Seriously impressed with these T-marking rulers and this shoulder square. I think these should be bought as a set. They're not sold as a set, just buy all three. You're not gonna be disappointed with them, and you'll use them all the time. Next up, this is WEN's 6 rulers in 1. This little ruler has some very unique features that I really like. First, I like the color coding on here. You get a yellow stripe, a blue stripe, and a red stripe depending on which side you're looking at, so you can know in a glance what side you're on. Once you learn what scales coordinate to the color, pretty cool. I also like on this end, this says 1/4 inch, and that 0 to there is a 1/4 inch. Same thing here, 0 to there is 1 inch. Flip it around on the other side, you have half, you have an 1/8, and as you rotate them, 3/4 of an inch, 3/32, 3/16. So any of these measurements that you consistently have to lay out over and over, like 3/4 of an inch. We're always using 3/4 or 1 inch or even 1.5 inch like you see on this scale. This is a really good tool that's already marked out on there. You can just lay it down, make the marks, and you can go. Another cool thing is across the top, if we have it in this direction, we have inches. Every time we rotate it, at the top's inches. And then if we flip it over, at the top now is in metric. So if you wanted to use your metric measurements, there you go. So this is work for everybody. This is also triangular in shape, so each side is going down directly onto your stock. So much like these other rulers that we showed that are tapered, this tapers down to your stock, so you're not getting a parallax effect or anything like that. You're marking directly at that number that's touching the stock, and I really do like that. Also, all of these tools are laser etched. Not sure if I mentioned that. So these numbers and things like that are gonna last you a long, long time using these tools. You don't have to worry about that. Anodized aluminum, they're really nice feeling quality tools, as nice as the Woodpeckers feels. It just depends on what color you like and where you like them made. And as far as accuracy goes, I'm lining this up with the Woodpecker's edge rule, and you can see all of the markings are exactly the same. Of course, they're flipped over because of the way they're oriented, but you can see the inches line up perfectly with the other inch marks on the Woodpeckers. So if you're looking for something that's accurate, especially if you like to draw your own plans and things like that, this might be the perfect little sketching or drafting ruler for you. It's just a good all-around tool to have in the shop, and you can't have too many rulers, so why not? especially at this price. Next up is a angle finder. If you've ever run into, what is that angle? How do I figure this out? How do I figure out the angles on an X brace, for instance? If you're doing X braces on end tables, things like that, this is where this really comes in handy, because you can use this to find the angle that you need and then take it over to the miter saw and set your angle correctly, referencing the angle finder on here. This is laid out in 1 degree increments from 0 all the way to 180 degrees. And then also there is a scale here on the ruler end of it, should you need to measure something with that. It's not really what this is meant for as far as measuring goes, but as far as finding angles, snug this little center bolt up right there, and then while it moves still, so it's still freely moving, it's not locking it in place or anything. I do kind of wish they had a lock there that locked it in place so you don't bump it, but now we know that this is a 35 degree angle, and now you can go over to your miter saw, set 35 degrees, and you know you're going to get the exact right cut that you need based on this. Very simple tool, but also, again, handy as a shirt pocket. Next up, this is probably my pick as far as best of the best. If you're going to buy one thing, buy these. And I would buy them as a set if you can fit them in your budget. These are layout rulers, and they're some of the most handy things you can have in the shop. And these have a really nice hook on the end. And if you don't want the hook, you can take them off because it just has an Allen key there that you could just unscrew and take it off. However, having that hook on there allows you to hook it on the end or edge of your stock. So like if you're laying out plywood, you need to cut out different pieces out of this plywood, this is the perfect way to lay those out. You can use your tape measure, of course, and then you can use these as straight edges to mark the straight lines too. But because these scales are so extremely accurate, you're not gonna have to worry about any inaccuracies there. You can use these to lay everything out perfectly. And there are 3 here. I bought a 12-inch, a 24-inch, and a 36-inch, and I find that having those 3 sizes are some of the best in the shop. I would like to see a 48-inch from them, and I would buy that one too, just so we can go all the way across this sheet of plywood. However, having this is nice. On one side of the ruler, we do get inches in 16th inch increments, so we can lay those out. That's pretty much all you need for most woodworking applications, is that 16th inch for layout. On the other side, we do have millimeters, so you can really get down to the millimeter if you want to, and if you're into metric. And I do like that they're offering these in a combo, so it's not really alienating anybody. You don't have to worry about, did I buy the millimeter or the inch? You can just pick this one up. It has both on, basically best for both worlds, so everybody's happy. And all 3 of these, 12, 24, and 36, are also tapered, just like the rest of these rulers, just like the Woodpeckers is doing with their rulers. They have a set of rulers too. This is the T-marking ruler, but they do have a set of rulers just like this you can purchase as well. The only thing really different between the Woodpeckers line and the WEN line is there are scribe holes here in the Woodpeckers line. I don't really think you need that on a ruler like this, because it's not a T-marking ruler like these smaller ones was, like the 10-inch I showed you. It does have those scribe lines. These don't, but they are also just basically for laying out. And they are nice and straight. In other words, perfectly straight. So if you need a straight edge for any reason, you can use that as well. Again, these are anodized aluminum. They do have these little indentions in the middle, depending on which one you get, how many indentions there. Nice little finger hold, just helps you hold it when you pick it up, things like that. And should you decide to take this off and move it to the other end, there are holes there to let you mount that T-hook on the other end. And they do have a hole pre-drilled in them, so if you wanted to hang these up on a nail, on a hook, anything like that, you can store them out of the way so they don't get damaged. Again, I think these are some of the best budget level precision tools that I've seen on the market to date. I actually ordered some Woodpecker dupes off of Amazon before while they were trying to imitate Woodpeckers, and the accuracy just wasn't there on most of those tools. Like, there was several in that video. I'll link in the description if you want to check it out, but there's a bunch of those tools that just weren't very accurate. And you could tell that there was a quality difference there too, like a pretty good quality difference on several of them. Not all, but several. On every single one of these that I bought, all of this with my money, every one of these are high quality, very nice aluminum. They don't feel cheap, and they're very accurate. And you can't ask for much more than that, especially at this price. We're talking under $30 for each piece. Man, I'm telling you, this is game changing for those on a budget who've been wanting some high quality tools, but really can't afford to jump into the Woodpeckers line because these are very expensive. Before we get to the bonus pick, let's talk about where these are made and why that may matter to some people. Well, these are made in the USA and these are made in China. Yeah, they are. However, not everybody can afford at this point to buy made in America tools, because made in America tools cost a lot more because of production costs, labor costs, all that stuff. And then you have those that say, I'll never support anything that's made somewhere else. That's fine as you type away on your foreign-made device. With that said, if I can buy and support Woodpeckers, I will, because I like their tools. I think they make great stuff. but I also am not ignorant to the fact that these are still high quality tools at a very affordable price, and a lot of people will buy these and be extremely happy with them, and that's okay too. I feel like some of my duty here on this channel is to help find good quality tools that will help you build the projects you're wanting to build at a good price without breaking the bank. And these are some of those tools I think you'll be satisfied with for years to come. Here's the bonus. This is a setup tool and also corner clamps or positioning squares. If you don't have any of these, especially if you build drawers, boxes, things like that, this is where these things really shine, or even cabinets. Holding them all square while you get your pocket holes drilled or whatever joiner you're using, and if you don't have some way to hold those together, it's a pain in the rear. These are really nice because A, they're square, perfectly square, as you see here with the Woodpecker square, and they're easy to use, and it comes with everything you need in a set. You get 2 squares, you get 4 of those J-hooks with the knobs and the little backing clamps back there, so it distributes the pressure evenly down toward the bottom. And now these 2 pieces aren't perfectly lined up, but that's okay. In other words, the same thickness. Just as an example, this will hold this perfectly square while you lay out your marks or put joinery in or whatever you need to do. And because these are perfectly square and the graduation marks are actually from 0 at the bottom of the square moving up, it's almost deceiving because of that blank space right there on the corner, but it actually is 0 at the corner. So in other words, you can use these to set up blade heights, bit heights, and you can use these as a normal square as you would any other square in the shop, especially if you're just using it to square up the inside corners of things, drawers, boxes, all that good stuff. All around, solid option if you need a set of these. So if you're on a budget and you don't know which one of these to pick, which one would I recommend you buy first, or which ones in what order? First and foremost, I think you should buy the rulers. If you're just gonna buy one, just get the 36-inch ruler. If you have the budget, pick up the 3, 12, 24, 36. Next on the list, I would personally pick up the T-marking rulers. Next is number 2. And number 3, I would pick up the layout square. If you don't have a layout square, this may go number 1 on your list. You let me know in the comments. And then I do like these positioning squares quite a bit, so I'd probably put those next. Followed up by the tri-ruler or drafting ruler, and then finally the compass if you need a way to find angles. If you'd like to check out any of these tools, there'll be links in the description and the pinned comment, as well as if I can find them here on YouTube Shopping, you can click that View Products button. You're gonna be so impressed with these, you don't wanna miss a single one. A huge thank you to David Corliss, who told me about these. He is my channel moderator. I had no idea these existed. He sent me a message and said, hey, have you seen these? I said, no. So as a thank you, David, I'm gonna gift you all of these WEN tools. Look for them coming in the mail soon.
If you like this video, check that one out. Click in that box to get your big old virtual fist bump. Thanks for watching.